to have been part of an effort where we started at the bench and now has led to an FDA approval of a new drug, first in class, that hopefully will really improve patients' lives is a truly humbling experience for me and really one of the milestones that I set for my career. My name is Erik Nelson, and I'm an associate professor here at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, and I'm in the departments of molecular and integrative physiology and cross-appointed to the Cancer Center at Illinois and the Institute of Genomic Biology. When I started in the lab of Donald McDonald at Duke University for my postdoc, I was first put on a project looking at a cholesterol metabolite and how that might impact bone physiology and osteoporosis. So during the course of my work there, I was collaborating with another senior scientist, Suzanne Wardell, and she had been tasked by a company, Radius Pharmaceuticals, to look into a drug that they were trying to develop for the treatment of hot flushes in postmenopausal women. And they had found in some of their early clinical trials that at low doses it seemed to work and prevent hot flush, but as they increased the dose, it actually made the hot flush worse. So Suzanne, and in collaboration with myself, we did some biochemical assays and we found that this drug did behave like a selective estrogen receptor modulator, but it did something else. And at high doses, it actually degraded the estrogen receptor. So that was really unique biology. So we put two and two together and thought, well, hey, maybe this could be positioned as a new orally available degrader of the estrogen receptor, allowing patients to take it for metastatic breast cancer. This will be the first endocrine-related therapy approved in the last 20 years. So it's a huge achievement in and of itself. It is in fact the first orally available selective estrogen receptor degrader. And it allows for patients to take this at home. Here at the University of Illinois, I work with the Cancer Research Advocacy Group, which are a group of advocates local to our area. And as you know, Champaign-Urbana, we're surrounded by agriculture lands and a rural population. And one of the issues that advocates are constantly raising with me is access, right? If you live on a farm, it could be hours away to the nearest clinic, which really impedes the ability to get in for what we take for granted, right? A simple injection, especially during harvest times or seeding time. You don't necessarily have a day that you can get into the clinic or the transportation means to get there. So being able to take a pill at home, it could be very transformative for these populations. This is why I get up every morning to hopefully impact a patient's life. Breast cancer has been on my mind for many years. When I was a young age of 16, I was visiting my grandmother, and her aunt, so my great aunt, had been diagnosed with recurrent breast cancer. So she made it very clear that if she was ever to have recurrent breast cancer, or for breast cancer to come back, she didn't want any more treatment. She'd done that and it was horrible and she didn't want it. And me being the young 16-year-old, just couldn't wrap my head around this, right? Like if you were diagnosed with something and you had something available to treat it, why wouldn't you take it? So when we got to the nursing home, my grandmother, who was a nurse, unbuttoned my great aunt's blouse and showed me what remained of her breast, which was basically a huge scar tissue, totally mutilated, and you could see where the cancer had come back. But also what was really striking to me and left a lasting imprint was this horrible disfigurement. I didn't realize at the time, but now that I'm in breast cancer research, I realized that she had had what we call a radical mastectomy. At some period of time, it was the mainstay in therapy where a surgeon would take a huge amount of the breast tissue, underlying tissue, and even would start chipping away into the rib cage to try to get all of the cancer out. We know now that wasn't necessarily required, but it was very disfiguring. So on the car ride home, I remembered thinking to myself, we can do better than that. In 2014, I was on the job market, as they say, and the University of Illinois really appealed to me for many different reasons. First and foremost was colleagues. The Department of Molecular and Integrative Physiology had a long track record of both cancer research as well as research into these nuclear receptors that I was always interested in. And then in addition to the expertise, my colleagues are collegial, and interacting with them has been a pleasure for the last 8 years. The other reason that really appealed to me at the University of Illinois was the ability to do interdisciplinary research, particularly in the fields of engineering as well as food science, human nutrition, which, as you know, the university has really long track record of outstanding research in those areas. As we started our lab here at the University of Illinois, we found that immune cells are particularly susceptible to perturbations in cholesterol homeostasis and cholesterol metabolism. That was really intriguing to us because in theory, the immune system has the capacity to attack and eradicate cancer. So if we can figure out how to turn the immune system on in just the right way, we should be able to engage it in a cancer patient and have that take care of the cancer completely. The problem is, cancer cells have figured out how to turn off the immune system, or even worse, use it to help them rather than eradicate them. So the main focus of our lab right now is to use cholesterol homeostasis and cholesterol metabolism to retrain the immune system into attacking cancer cells rather than helping them. What keeps me motivated? There are 3 things. First, I work with cancer research advocates who we meet once a month, and they tell me what are the latest needs of patients, and there are always needs for patients and areas where research can fill those gaps. So that gets me up. The second is the people I work with. I have an amazing team of graduate students, postdoctoral associates, research technician, and several undergraduate researchers. And together, we all share the same vision of treating and eventually eradicating this disease altogether. And it's my pleasure to oversee what they're doing and help guide them towards the best experiments and how to interpret data. And the third is the data we're generating. In theory, we should be able to turn the immune system on, and several groups, not just ours, are starting to make headway into these ways that we can re-educate the immune system. And some of our work is really exciting, and my vision is through the next 20 years is to start developing new small molecules or biologics that we can use to treat these different subtypes of cancers and have them approved so a doctor and a patient can look at their data, look at their own situation, and really personalize their treatment approach. We need to develop more therapies and more treatment options for patients so that they do have choice and they can choose the drug that's going to give them the best quality of life and hopefully the longest.